Every entrepreneur has one. The moment you decide to start your own business, your story begins. And if you're like most business owners, your plan and your reality can end up being miles apart. Welcome to PTC TV and our series entitled The Journey. Each week, we will be talking to business owners about their business journey. Our hope is that by sharing these stories, others may find understanding, inspiration, and the will to succeed. So let me ask you, what's your story? Welcome to The Journey, brought to you by Pull the Chute. I'm your host, Jeff Cecil, and today we are in downtown historic Gallatin. I'm here at the Artisans Hatchery with Rebecca and Vivian, the owners here, and we're going to spend a little time getting to understand their store, why they started it, when they started it. But before we do that, do me a favor, just give me a little bit of background. Rebecca, we'll start with you. Give us a little bit of background about you.
So to start this business, I left corporate America. I had an opportunity to work with some amazing companies, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble,
Oh, wow.
Fossil Group, and so I got expert training by working for these companies. But at some point, I just got tired of being on the hamster wheel. So my background is in sales, corporate sales, taking territories and $1 million territory and blowing it up to a $4 million territory. So year after year being rewarded with another state to manage, after a while gets tiring.
It does.
So that's a little bit of my background.
Very good. Vivian, tell us a little bit about you.
I have a similar business background. I have a corporate business management background.
Okay.
Where prior to relocating to Tennessee, I also worked for a large company chasing the almighty dollar, which was fun because it was lucrative. However, I was a stay-at-home mom when I relocated here in Tennessee in 2009, and I actually joined the Artisans Hatchery in 2020, right around COVID time, actually. So,
Good or bad decision there,
yeah,
right?
actually very good. It was a
Was?
very good decision. COVID was actually great for small business in
Yeah.
some ways because larger businesses didn't reopen as quickly, so it was
True.
kind of good for us.
Good for you
It's
guys.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So, how long have you been in business? Tell us a little bit about when you started, why you started.
So I started the business in October of 2018. And the concept was build it and they will come.
Yeah.
So I started it with just being open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and doing painted furniture and a few painted items. And then little by little, it continued to grow. A potter, a ceramics person came. I added them gave them some space in the store. Then an oil artist came, and then a watercolor artist came. And the concept was, it's so expensive for artists to bring their art, their gift to the marketplace. What if I created a nest, a landing spot for them to bring their gifts to the marketplace? And so when I started the business, I learned from my years in corporate America is have a brand story. So I had a brand story, and our story is the Artisan Hatchery is a nest where artists fly together to bring their gifts to the marketplace.
That's great.
So we have our elevator statement, we have our brand story, and then everything that we do, that energy circles around that same concept. And we've had bumps in the road, but we have we've grown. So I birthed the baby, and then this woman right here grew it up.
Awesome.
So I started it with a can with $25 of change. I didn't take credit cards. I took checks.
Wow.
I took cash. I didn't have a cash register. Everything was handwritten because I didn't.
We've come a long way.
We've come a long way. But
We've
I
come a long
didn't
way.
want to be one of those businesses who spent a whole lot of money starting their business.
Sure.
So all they had to do was just to dig out.
Yeah.
And I never borrowed any money. I never went into debt. So everything was on a cash basis. So we grew very slowly. But we grew enough and we were impactful enough that Vivian wandered into the store one day. And if I could just tell Vivian's story.
Oh, yeah,
Sure.
go
How
ahead.
we met. So she comes in the store and she has her artwork, which is beautiful. It's sketches of animals on antique book pages
Oh, wow.
and antique music, and she shows me these, and I say, yes, those are lovely, my dear, but they will never sell because they're not framed. I knew my customer well
Sure.
enough. If you get those framed, come back to me.
Yeah.
And she and her husband walked out the door, and I thought to myself, she'll never be back. And
Look
lo
at
and
me now.
behold, she
She
came
can't get rid of
back.
me.
Yeah, not only did she come back.
She came back, and she really, she took the baby and said, I see your vision, I see the baby, and here's what I'm going to add. And so I'm a numbers nerd. I love spreadsheets.
Okay.
do.
So I'm
I
going to
do.
take over the accounting part of it. And so once she did that, then her strengths and my strengths came together, and we kind of circled around the nest, and then finally we decided, hey, let's be business partners.
That's great.
So at that point, then Vivian and I joined together and applied with the state of Tennessee and became an official business owners.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So she's been amazing. Her gifts
thank you.
are just the things that I don't have. I have a vision. I have an idea. I can birth the baby, but how many
I like the details, and
Yes.
Rebecca loves the big picture. So
Yes.
it's a nice marriage of a partnership for sure.
that's great.
So, and the thing for me about the Artisan Hatchery is, unlike a gallery where you're just up on a wall, the artists in here actually work in a true cooperative situation where they share ideas and they share ways to improve their art or ways to grow their businesses or ways, it's a wonderful friendship. One of the Potter actually, she cracks me up. She came up with a phrase called nesties. So we're in here instead of besties, we're like all nesties.
we're all nesties.
So
Because-
everyone comes together? Is that what you're
Well,
trying to say
people,
when you say
the
that, or-
artists come in and out
Okay.
regularly throughout the week. They'll pop in, they'll check their section, they'll
Okay.
do whatever. But like the potter will work with this painter and they'll collaborate pottery.
I see. Okay.
Or this mixed media artist, Megan Bailey Gill, who has been like for decades a professional teacher and whatnot, really working her art, is helping some of the newer artists with how do you do classes? How do you reach your audience? How do you, and everybody shares, what printer do you use to make prints or what?
Right.
It's just a really wonderful, positive environment. So
That's great.
it's everybody working together to
Yeah.
make this place really super special.
That's great. So you said something earlier. I just want to jump back. You talked about how you grew it slowly.
Yes.
And I think that's a key thing that we should talk a little more about, just because I know a lot of people that go into business, and I believe, we talked about it earlier, a lot of people are going to try and go into business in 2023 here because they're tired of, as you were, working for the corporate, giants. But we all have a tendency to want to build it and run
Right.
versus build it and crawl/walk.
Right.
How do you feel that has really helped you? Do you think was a key to your
I
success?
think that was a key because when COVID came, a lot of businesses had to close because they needed that income every month just to pay their bills. And my income was, and I kept my job with corporate America. That's why I was
Okay.
only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So it needed to get to a certain level before I knew I could cut that off. So I believe that COVID came, a lot of businesses had to close, and at that point, that was one of my big bumps in the road. I thought, okay, this is it. When I opened this business, the two businesses beside me there were vacant buildings. 4 doors down, I had the federal parole check-in office. Nobody came down this
Yeah,
far
right?
Yeah.
to shop, and everybody said, you're crazy. This is not a good idea. And then COVID came, and they said, now you're really sunk.
Yeah.
And on the way here, I'll just tell you my journey. I'm driving. Sumner County says, you can now reopen your business. And I'm driving and I'm saying, okay, God, give me 3 reasons that I should keep this business open. And I came in the back door, and at the front door were 7 people in line to come in the store and said, we don't want you to close. We want you to continue your business. So, and actually, here's one of our artists who's coming in. So, artists pop in and out all the time.
great.
But anyway, so that was my 7 reasons for continuing the business. And so, shortly thereafter, Vivian showed up.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, when you create a rich business in this sense that we don't carry a lot of inventory, we don't carry a lot of financial burden, we only buy what we can afford, we don't overbuy, we don't buy to the dollar, we have a small little, emergency that we know we need.
Sure.
I mean, we're getting to the point where we have safety, like
That's great.
financially, when it comes to we could afford a month or two of bad times or soft sales or whatever. So I think that's really
Right.
important,
That's
not to overdo yourself.
That's
you
great.
know.
So you have other artists that all are they all have little compartments in here that I'm seeing and
They
things of
do.
that nature. How many total artists do you have in? And you're both looking at each other now.
We need
22.
We're up to 22 now.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And so, unlike the booth concept where
Yeah.
you come in and everybody's owning a booth, everybody pays towards the cost of the rent, the insurance, the taxes. Everything has to be paid in, and then you have your section
Okay.
that is yours, and then we spread you out among the store, and then we do, as Vivian said, we do these cooperative statements. I did a table that had Marilyn Monroe on it. I did a Marilyn Monroe table because I do the painted furniture.
Okay.
And one of the artists did a Marilyn Monroe portrait. And we sold those in collaboration.
Oh, cool.
Another artist did a Paris theme, and I did all Paris themed furniture that sat in front of her statement. So if you could just imagine, I grew up in a very rural community, and I always used to go every Saturday to the farmers markets.
Okay.
Well, they call them farmers markets now, but then they were called the farmers co-op.
Oh.
And I saw all these farmers selling eggs and vegetables, and they were all selling together cooperatively.
Right.
And I thought, if that can work in that environment, why can't we do that for artists?
That's great.
So,
I love it. So COVID was a little bit of a bump. Let's call it that. I always like to hear the journey. So have there been any other lows and maybe highs that you want to tell us about and share with us?
well, I have had artists who have come, and then I invited them to leave. Is the nicest way to put it, because they didn't see the concept. They didn't understand what a cooperative is.
Okay.
They either wanted gallery prices for their items, or they were just not a fit. And
Some people are also young in their journey.
Yes.
And they need a little bit more time to take a step back and ripen their skill a little bit more. And then the door's still open for them
Yes,
to come back.
absolutely.
We do have a little mix of that too.
we have a mix of that.
Yeah.
And then we've had, speaking of young, we've had young people who've come in and their art has been consumed. I mean, the public loves it, but yet they're really not interested in producing. They're not interested in coming to the marketplace. They're not ready
keep
for
up
the
with the
marketplace.
sales, yeah.
Yes. So
That's true, true.
that we've had that experience.
Honestly, very, very few lows though. I
Right.
mean,
Good for you.
we have more highs than we have
Okay, well,
lows.
Right.
Give
for
us a
sure.
couple of highs. What,
We
Vivian was a high for me.
there you go.
Because she came
We-
and said, okay, we need this system. This is how we're going to do the cash
Yeah.
register.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to do our taxes. This is how we're going to do it. And I'm like, you go, girl. You go. Take the baby. Run.
and it does fulfill a little portion of my heart that needs to be filled. So.
Yeah.
But I think the new artists we bring in who get really excited about their opportunity and to watch them take off, because the reality is I'm an artist here and I make money off selling my art. But man, do I get pleasure off of seeing these other artists
Yeah. That's
succeed.
great.
And it's really exciting. Some people have never sold their art in the marketplace at all. I mean, no Etsy, no Instagram, no, nothing. And they
Right.
come here and they find success. And I love to see the joy.
Yeah.
We have award-winning artists
Wow.
who have, come here and then have presented their art to different organizations and they've won awards for it. So it's just it's exciting part of the business to see that. And then when the people are sharing,
Yes.
this is, you can get canvases at this place, so really at a great price, or you can do this, or you can recycle that. And, just to see the sharing of
Yeah.
information
Oh, that's awesome.
is really makes this special. You're not just coming in, doing your thing, walking out. You're part of this whole big group, and I think everybody feels like they're part of something, and that's what we want. We want you to feel like this is a nest. You're not on your own. We're here.
This is a hatchery. We're all percolating together.
Yeah.
So
and we try to promote each other too, which is really great. So
Well, and being in this historic area of Gallatin too, there's a myriad of different types of shops, all local, which is great.
Yeah.
That offer everything different too. So I think your ability to bring everybody together, 22 artists all in one place, is amazing.
Yeah.
To give them an opportunity to also be part of this. So I think
and we've had artists who've come here who have really been like, I don't know if I want to show my work, and then all of a sudden been like, oh my gosh,
people love my stuff.
People love my stuff.
Who knew?
And who knew?
Yeah.
And we've had artists who've come here who've had that same experience. One artist who was
I had that experience.
Yes, yes.
I had that experience because I called mine adult coloring. I did it for like just personal enjoyment, and then I had a lot of it. And my friend was like, you should sell it. And I was like, who's going to buy it?
Yeah.
And then I came here and she's like, you should frame it. And I'm like, okay, where do I get frames? And then she actually told me, Rebecca told me where to go to get the frames. That actually that weekend, Goodwill was having this giant cart load. You could put anything in a cart for like $25. I literally loaded up the frames. And then I came back, and I guess apparently she was shocked.
Oh, that's great.
Give me a challenge.
Pleasantly.
So I think that, that's like, I am the story. You are the story. Like we are all
part of the journey.
Part of it.
We're all part of the journey. We all bring something unique. So we're almost like a patchwork quilt. And every day we keep changing our design. We keep getting bigger. We keep covering more. And this year we ended the year and we met with each artist, as I told you, and we asked 3 questions. Start, stop, continue. What is it you would like us to start doing? What is it you would like us to stop doing? And what is it you would like us to continue doing? And then we were quiet and we listened. And we got some fabulous feedback.
Yes.
That's great.
And that helped us in our planning journey. So we have big picture ideas, and we call it keeping our pivot foot strong. So we've got more stuff we put in our pivot foot.
Yeah,
that's great.
I think when you include people in your discussion and in some of the planning, there were ideas and for starting, stopping, and continuing that we didn't, because we're in it. We're like, oh my God, I never even thought of that. Yeah. There were some ideas we're like, yes, absolutely, we're working on that, and we get that. But there were some really wonderful conversations, and I mean, that was fantastic.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So as we kind of close things up here, where do you want to be in, let's say, 3 years? Let's just pick a number. Any thoughts?
Wow.
Want to go 2 years? Pick a number.
I think we kind of know where we want to be.
Okay.
And to actually talk about it among ourselves. But we see this even bigger.
Okay.
We see this bigger. We see offering a lot more art to the community. But, we're limited by these walls. So we want to change that. But that's big picture.
Yeah. Well, that's the important thing. I mean,
yes.
I always tell people, it's where you're at today,
right?
But where you want to be tomorrow, right?
Right.
And so those are the things you have to look at.
Pivot foot.
Yeah, and you just got to be open to where you want to be tomorrow, and keep that out there.
Yes.
Keep reaching for it with a focus on where you're at today.
Yeah, I think if you keep your eyes open too, sometimes you'll be like, oh my God, what a great solution to what we were looking to do. So
again, it's build it and they will come. I had no idea that I would be meeting all of these wonderful people, and that it would look like this. I just kind of had an idea, and then I let each person who came in say, tell me what your vision is here.
Yeah.
So
I do love working here too and meeting all the customers and the people. I love when we have lots of return customers who love art and who want special things for their home and custom items, and
they want the experience.
They do,
we
and they want to see it.
Experience they've never gotten anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I know we got to wrap up here, but you just said an interesting word, because I believe that shopping has changed to where people want an experience.
Yes.
It's not just walking into a store but they want to feel like they were welcomed, like there was something special going on, like you included them, you know, all these things. We just did a whole podcast on that whole topic because that really is where things have changed. So kudos to you guys for doing that. I think that's, you know, critical
And we
to the
have
future.
people who come in who say, and we say, oh, hello, we've seen them before. Oh, I brought my friends with me because
Right.
we're eating downtown, and this is part of what we share with
Yeah,
our people.
right. Yeah.
And so that feels really good because we know we're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, hey, thank you guys. I appreciate you
Yes.
giving me the time today. I am so excited that I got to sit with you and just hear about your story and your journey. It's pretty amazing, actually,
Thank
when
you
you think
so
about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
it is.
Knock on wood.
From a coffee can with $25.
Yeah, right. To where you're at today.
Hey, we
That's-
take
Right.
credit cards now.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
wow, look at us, and we have gift cards too.
Yeah. Hey, to our viewers, thank you so much as always for watching. We're always excited to be able to bring you these stories. As always, our goal is to offer you inspiration. If you're a new business owner or an existing business owner, sometimes things happen, and you know it's a journey, and we always love to hear your story as well. So if you'd be willing to share your story, please let us know. But until the next time that we get to talk and we get to interview somebody else, stay safe and be healthy.
Bye.